Picture this for a second. You're a SaaS founder, you're obsessing over your metrics, and you get this creeping feeling that you're losing deals simply because you cost too much. It is a completely normal fear to have. So you do what makes logical sense, right? You make a standard business move and you slash your monthly plan price by 22%. The thinking is super straightforward. A cheaper product is obviously going to equal more sales. Well, fast forward 6 weeks. You check your dashboard, and you are hit with this absolute paradox. Your trial to paid conversions didn't climb. They actually tanked. They dropped by a massive 33%. I mean, lowering the price did the exact opposite of what it was supposed to do. But why? Well, because without other strong signals in place, those prospects were using your price as a literal proxy for quality. The moment the price dropped, they completely lost trust in the product's ability to deliver. All right, so let's unpack this. Welcome to this explainer on the pricing reckoning, where we're pulling some amazing insights from product strategist Vinay Vijay Raut. Our big mission today is to completely rewire how we think about what we charge. We're going to stop looking at pricing like it's just some math problem you solve in a spreadsheet and realize that it is, at its core, a perception problem that you solve through storytelling. So let's kick things off with Section 1, the pricing perception paradox. This is the ultimate trap for go-to-market teams. You see, the usual playbook is all about optimizing the number. You grab your competitor data, you find the market median, maybe run a couple of surveys, and you pick a number that feels safe. But honestly, that approach is fundamentally broken. Customers do not experience your price in a vacuum. You have to optimize the story. Think about it. Your price is wrapped up in your visual design, your onboarding, how fast your support team replies, and even how confident your sales reps sound on a call. Every single one of those touchpoints is either building up the believability of your price or completely tearing it down. Vinay illustrates this perfectly with the concept of a value perception dial. It represents something called the price credibility gap. Simply put, this is the very real distance between the dollar amount on your pricing page and what the market believes you are actually worth. Closing that specific gap is the real heavy lifting of pricing, because if the market thinks your value is lower than your price tag, literally no amount of spreadsheet optimization is going to save your conversions. So how exactly do we close it? That brings us to Section 2, the 3 forces of pricing. Teams love to obsess over competitor pricing, right? But competitors only show you the floor. True pricing power sits right at the intersection of 3 specific forces. First, market demand elasticity, because let's face it, buyers are human beings, not purely logical robots. Second, competitive positioning, what your price actually signals about your brand identity. And third, the one everyone ignores, customer value perception. This is the set of outcomes buyers link to your product, and it is the single force that dictates your revenue ceiling. This is why just copying a competitor's pricing page is playing with fire. As this perfectly puts it, when you match a competitor's tier structure, you are blindly inheriting their entire narrative, their specific customer base, and worst of all, their revenue ceiling. It's a total commodity trap. The companies that actually win are the ones that stop competing on price architecture and make comparison totally irrelevant. To help us break out of that trap, we're diving into Section 3, the 5 price levers. This is Vinay's actionable framework to engineer real, sustainable pricing power. We start with P, which stands for perception architecture. Like we talked about earlier, price is all about those surrounding signals. This lever is about absolute, undeniable coherence. If your visual design, your website copy, and your sales team's pitch don't seamlessly align with the premium price you're asking for, the whole thing just crumbles. Coherence is the bedrock of pricing power. Then we have R for reference point management. Look, customers never, ever evaluate a price on its own. They are constantly comparing you to something. An old vendor, an internal cost, a competitor. You have to take control and define what that comparison is. If you don't set the anchor for them, they are absolutely going to do it for you, and trust me, they won't pick a comparison that works in your favor. Moving right along to I, interval and structure design. We're talking monthly versus annual, seat-based versus usage-based, all of that. You've got to align your billing structure with the exact moment your customers actually feel the value of your product. If those 2 things are misaligned, you're going to trigger churn. And the crazy part is that churn won't even be because your product failed. It's just going to be from billing friction. C is competitive differentiation pricing. This is where you step out of the comparison game completely. Stop anchoring to what the other guys charge and start anchoring to the highly specific, quantified outcomes you deliver. Map it out in your customer's own words. Are you delivering time saved, more revenue, fewer errors? You need to price against those tangible outcomes. And finally, E wraps it up with the expansion revenue pathway. Your absolute best asset is a customer who's already bought in. Your pricing shouldn't just get them in the door, it has to help them grow. You need to weave natural upgrade triggers into your structure so that once they experience that core value, the upsell conversation happens almost automatically. Let's ground all this theory in reality. Here is Section 4, the Archway Analytics case study. This is a brilliant comeback story about a mid-stage SaaS company that was completely stuck in the commodity pricing mud. So, the Archway team actually picked up the phone, ran a structured value audit with their active users, and they uncovered this absolutely staggering number, $120,000. That was the value of the engineering time their customers were saving every single year just by using Archway. But here is the kicker, $4,800. That was what Archway charged for their most expensive annual plan. Think about that for a second. There was this massive invisible gap where customers were getting 8 to 25 times the value of what they were paying. Archway completely missed this because they were just blindly benchmarking against other underpriced tools in their space. Once they restructured their tiers to focus on engineering hours saved instead of just basic features, the results were mind-blowing. Average contract value shot up 2.8 times in the first year. They maintained a 91% gross retention rate. And get this, their trial conversions actually went up by 34% simply because they've reframed the ROI. Didn't even touch the core product. They just fixed the story. Okay, ready to put this into practice? Let's hit Section 5, the 60-day action plan. This is your exact step-by-step roadmap. We're breaking this into sprints. Weeks 1 and 2, you run a value audit. Get on the phone with 15 customers and just talk about outcomes, not price. Weeks 3 and 4, you build a positioning map to find out where your specific narrative can actually stand out. Weeks 5 to 7 is the perception audit. Go through your own buyer journey with a highly critical eye and grade your signals. Finally, weeks 8 to 10, you apply the price model for structural redesign. And notice the order here. You have to fix the perception signals before you even think about touching the actual price tag. Because here's what happens when we map value delivery against value communication. Most Series A and B products are totally stuck in the bottom left corner, what we call the hidden value zone. The core product is amazing, but their value narrative is weak. They're leaving piles of money on the table just because their product is so much better than their story. The fix isn't magically raising the price. It is aggressively improving how you communicate that value first. Which perfectly loops us back to that SaaS founder from the very beginning. Remember him? He panicked, cut his price, and tanked his conversions. His ultimate fix wasn't just jacking the price back up. He had to actually earn that price back. He added one single sentence to his pricing page, clarifying how his tool cut release cycles by 40%, and boom, conversions recovered in 3 weeks. He made sure the market believed in the price. As Vinay Raut says, build products worth believing in, then price them accordingly. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to walk away with this one thought. I challenge you to literally close the spreadsheets, ignore the competitor benchmarks for a minute, and take a long, hard look at your own price credibility gap. Ask yourself, what story is your price telling today?